Guys, Colorado is completely transforming its laws surrounding funeral homes after several companies around the state did some of the most insane things you can imagine, including selling body parts without the family member's permission. But none of those crimes compared to the insanity I have to share with you guys today. This crime is ludicrous, not just because of how illegal and heartless the perpetrators were. I mean, they were dealing with people's loved ones here, but because of how stupid they were. Seriously, guys, I have never been forced into uncontrollable bouts of what? So many times while researching a topic. So strap in and get ready for the most unbelievable thing that happened in a Colorado funeral home before funeral directors in Colorado were required to have a license, and funeral homes were routinely checked. Return to Nature was a funeral home that in 2023 was storing almost 200 bodies in a storage building that didn't have a working refrigeration unit. Why weren't the refrigeration units working? Well, one of them was homemade, which was a bad idea because it was 70 degrees inside. The door of a second one was just wide open when the police got there, and yes, this is a sign of things to come. The police decided to investigate the property after a neighbor reported a horrible smell. They started by calling one of the joint owners of the company, John Halford, who said he had a problem at the building in Penrose, Colorado, explaining that he practiced taxidermy there. I mean, I can't think of a better lie still. But he agreed to let the police check it out. They showed up to a horrific scene that we are not going to talk about. They came back the next day to deal with it, and John tried to stop them from entering. Bro, what? You really thought they were just gonna leave? You had 198 bodies in there. They didn't know that they had come from your funeral home at this place. What was your plan? It gets so much worse. The police start examining the remains, and almost 24 of them date back to 2019. 60 of them date back to 2020. What were they doing there? As the police started identifying the bodies, they realized that officially these people had been cremated. The Return to Nature funeral home was taking in bodies, and instead of giving them a proper cremation, was simply letting them rot in a random building in Colorado. Families were devastated to find out what had happened to their loved ones' remains and that they had been taken advantage of in their time of grief. So what did they get instead of their family members' ashes? Probably concrete, full and empty bags of which were found in the building. There were also animal remains. I guess John really might have been doing taxidermy there. He seems like a weird guy. When Return to Nature wasn't straight up lying to people, it was being negligent in other ways. For instance, one of the people found in the building was a man who was supposed to have been buried, but when they dug up his coffin, they found a female body inside. John, were you like drunk constantly? Sure, be scammy and cut corners, but would it have been that much harder to just grab a random male corpse? And that wasn't the only time that body mix-ups happened. Police found that some of the people who did receive ashes from Return to Nature got the wrong ashes, which takes us to the second most confusing part of the story. Why didn't they just operate normally all of the time? Because they did operate normally most of the time. Return to Nature was involved in nearly 1,200 funerals, most of which went fine. I mean, it would make more sense if they started doing this after the place that they got to do cremations for them, Wilbert Funeral Services, refused to work for them. You see, Return to Nature had failed to pay Wilbert for several hundred cremations because it turns out that there's not one part of running a business that can't be turned into a scam if you try hard enough. But again, some of the bodies in the Penrose building had been there since 2019 when they still had a crematory they could scam. So I really don't understand why they only cremated some of the bodies. Why, John? I'm so confused. I keep blaming John for some reason. John and Carrie Halford jointly own the business and they're being tried together, so I don't know why I keep singling him out. Now we come to the most confusing part of the story. So while the police and FBI were investigating this, someone got a hold of messages between the couple talking about how worried they were about the bodies being discovered and what they should do about it. 3 years before the bodies were discovered, John apparently texted Carrie, "My one and only focus is keeping us out of jail." And I guess instead of doing anything, they just kept talking about it and accumulating even more bodies for 3 freaking years? I don't understand. Here's another text from John to Carrie in 2020. Options. A. Build a new machine, ASAP. B. Dig a big hole and use lye. Where? C. Dig a small hole and build a large fire. Where? D. I go to prison, which is probably gonna happen. I don't know, I feel like you could have gotten away with it. I mean, you were getting away with the whole your cremation business in Oklahoma shutting down and getting sued but then not paying thing. And you were getting away with the whole not paying $12,000 of rent thing and the whole not paying $5,000 in property taxes thing. And you were really getting away with the whole operating a funeral home in Penrose after your registration expired for like a year thing. No one seems to have even noticed that one. All you had to do was anything with the bodies and you could have probably gotten away with it. I would have gotten away with it. That's all I'm saying. Another text from John to Carrie just before they got caught said, I want to take a shower as soon as I get back because while I was making the transfer, I got pickle juice on me. Want the double cheeseburger, lettuce wrapped with everything minus tomatoes, please. He gave her his order in the same text as a mishap about moving a body. These people are so weird. So what were the Halfords doing with all this money? They bought fancy cars, spent $1,500 on one dinner in Las Vegas. I hope they were eating pure gold because if not, they got scammed. And they also bought cryptocurrency. I'm out of reactions. Every single reaction possible has been sucked out of me. The couple is currently facing an astonishing 250 felony counts, because of course they are. If you have any ideas what on earth these people were thinking, please enlighten me in the comments section. I'm so sorry for all of the families that returned to Earth scammed. I hope that they and their loved ones find the peace they deserve. Thanks for watching.